Fulfillment. That's a topic that is on my mind right now. Obviously, those of you that know us, we just made a huge life change. And so far, so good, to be honest. Miss the homies, miss my family. My son misses Nana. But I like the life path. I think we're on a good life path. This is going to do things for us financially and lines up much closer to our values, the area that we're in, and we're really enjoying it. But I wanted to talk for a second about the fact that I don't think a lot of people really think about what brings them fulfillment. And I really truly believe that it's not any one thing, but it's more the life path that you're on. And if you feel like it's challenging you and making you grow, because in my opinion, growth is what brings fulfillment. That could be in a million different ways. That could be reading books, exercising, getting your body in better shape makes you feel better. Those who have at least tried to exercise understand that, because it does. It makes you feel better. Like, we just moved across the country and spent a couple weeks not in the gym, and I started to feel like shit about myself. And I'm not usually like that. It's not like I sit there and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so amazing, but I don't feel bad about myself because I'm typically trying to grow in some capacity, and I think that's what makes me feel fulfillment. So, people out there, you might have one thing in your world that's kind of bringing you down. Maybe you're broke as shit. Maybe you're in a relationship that isn't as good as you would like. Maybe you're not finding any challenge in your work. And one thing I could say for sure is that if there's something that's glaring in your life that makes you unhappy, address that one thing head on and make that your focus. Especially a bad relationship or a job that makes you miserable. Like, you gotta change those scenarios. And changing the scenario doesn't necessarily mean leaving the person you're with by any means. It can often mean more open communication and honesty. The body as well. If you're in really bad shape, whether you know it or not, you can be comfortable with it. You can be comfortable with not being in great shape, or you can even be comfortable being fat. I mean, frankly. But with that being said, that stuff does feed into your psychology and changes the way you feel about yourself to some degree, regardless of what you say. It might even be completely subconscious, but if you've let yourself go completely, you feel like shit about it 98% of the time. I don't know if there's some rare breed that just doesn't care, but that would be my take on that. Ultimately, don't just sit stagnant. People get fearful of new things, and it freezes them. Well, the other side of that would be courage, and courage doesn't mean that you're not afraid. It means that you'll push through it and try something new. And if you just stay in the same routine through your entire life, because you're comfortable, honestly, I don't know what that's like. That's a shitty way to live, in my opinion, and I don't suggest it. And if you're super freaking happy in your life with your routine, and you've taken care of your body, and you enjoy your work, and your family's fed and taken care of, and you're advancing, then fucking rock on, dude. For me, I don't feel like I'll ever stop wanting to grow spiritually, mentally, financially, and I always want to be a better husband. My wife and I had a bit of a spat last night, and honestly, it broke down to a lack of communication. In all fairness, once we talked about it, I understood completely where she was coming from. And it wasn't anything that I did. It was just a lack of understanding between the two of us. And that made me feel a lot better about it. That's a side note, obviously, but it's just working on the relationship, because my wife and I are extremely happy, but it isn't all the time. But when we get to a bad space, we fucking work on it. That's what we do. We work on it. I'll be honest, I gotta drag it out of her because she's not the type, but she knows who she married, and we will talk through it and work it out. So long story short, I suppose the point of this is don't just sit stagnant and miserable. Like, don't use the society has kind of created this like blame game where people are always trying to blame somebody for their problems. Reality is you just got to get tougher, and you got to get more resilient and read books. Anyway, that was a lot, but anyway, I hope all my friends and family back in Oregon are good, and we love you guys, and yeah, I'll talk to you later. Peace, love, deuces.